to the future is here in Legends of Runeterra. If you don't know what I'm referring to, of course, it's going to be Zillion and the trickster himself, Echo. So the whole idea of this deck is to predict a lot and kind of use Echo to the point where you just attack with a lot of them. So the idea is kind of simple. You have three win conditions. You have Zillion, then you have Echo, and then you have this guy. There are not a lot of win conditions, but there are a lot of ways to get them to become very consistent. So it's a very good one in the end where you'll get it. So let's talk about our first win condition. If you haven't seen my last video, I really enjoy this card. There's a lot of prediction in this deck, so the idea is literally just to shuffle him around or to play him, get another one, and then shuffle him around and buff him a lot. If you have one out on the field, he gets buffed if you see him in predictions. So it's totally fine to see him in a bunch of predictions. That's the main win condition. Then you have Echo, where if you predicted 5 times, you level up and you create 3 Chrono Breaks in your deck. Chrono Break, if you don't know, is revive all allies that died this round, then rally. And so it's pretty ridiculous having 3 of these in your deck. So he's quick attack, and then when he strike, create a fleeting time trick in hand. Time trick is literally predicted and draw 1. This is probably one of the best cards in the game, and no one can tell me otherwise. Literally, you get to see what you're going to get in the next 3 cards and pick it, and you get to get it. For 2 mana, that is it, and it's fleeting for free with Echo. Then he flips, and it costs 0 this time. But you get the Chrono Breaks, and so that's what makes this guy, this is what makes Echo very advantageous. If I'm being honest, Zillion is a very weak win condition, but he's something that is fun to do. You don't play around time bombs too often in this deck, but they're there because you can kind of predict and get through them. If you've seen 2 time bombs destroyed, you transform and create a fleeting copy of each non-fleeting card I saw you play last round. And yeah. So there's a lot you can do with that because you, like, let's say time trick, right? You get to basically cast it again and drawing just free cards basically at that point. And so he's kind of in there just because just to cycle cards. There's only 2 of Zillions, and so he's just kind of a glorified 2-drop wall. There are not a lot of ways to get time bombs. If there was like cards that put more in your deck, it would be different, but that's where we're at. So at the top of the deck, we have Feral Presence, which is just an overall great card, but only has 2 of. I feel like 3, you cluttered your deck, and you're like, you're a little like just trust your deck. You don't need 3 of them. 2 is good enough. Fallen Feline, create 10 hexite crystals in the bottom of your deck. It literally just deals 2 enemies in the Nexus. Literally, this card is so good with prediction, and because his deck is totally based on prediction, you could even call her, the cat, a win condition. I don't. I just, it's just that's such late game that I don't like calling it a win condition, but it can win you the game. Aspiring Chronomancer, play predict 2/3, very good card on turn 2. Called Shot. You get to create a parallel convergence in your deck after you draw, which is perfectly good. Get a good way to cycle through your deck to get to these cards. Start a free attack with an exact ephemeral copy of each ally. And this is when we start to see this deck kind of form what it's going to do. If you haven't seen it yet, basically what we're going to do is we're starting to hit them for free. Time bombs, hexatite crystals, parallel convergence. Now, what is Echo's ability? I forgot. I forgot what it was. Chrono Breaks. And you just cycle through all these attacks, and they're just free at the end of the day because they're either ephemeral copies or you get to call them back. Next we have these guys, Sump Workers. Basically, if you play 2, if you play 1, you get this 1/2. If you play a second one, you get to obliterate it, and you get this instead. Deal 1 to the enemies and the enemy nexus, which is super good if you can get this on turn 3, because you're basically dealing 5 damage and wiping out a lot of just useless tokens, 1 health people, and it's elusive. So it's really hard to block unless the deck has elusive units. Or you have removal. This is a card that's kind of been going under a lot of people's radar. I understand why. I think this would be great on ladder. I think I would love to see someone in competition play this card. But yeah. Then we get to the classic Mystic Shot. Time Trick, already talked about it. Zillion, already talked about it. Careful Preparation, if you haven't seen my last deck. To play, place a card from your hand into your deck, predict, then create an exact copy of that chosen card in hand. This is great when you have something really useless, something you don't want to play. Like turn 3, you have this guy, and you're like, I need something better. Solved. And I think that's why that deck is really good, because let's say you get an Echo, right? You get a 4th Echo. Maybe you get another Zillion, start filling your deck with those time bombs, and just like get another Mystic Shot, just something as simple as that. This card is really useful for those reasons. It's just a free duplication, free card. Basically, you get to draw 1 of that duplicate. So if it's really good, it's even better. Flash of Brilliance, a foundational card. Been changed a bit though. 3-mana burst, create in hand a random 6 cost spell from your regions, refill your spell mana. In some ways, it's a free spell if you have 3 mana. So that's always good. Always good to have variety. You only have 2 of them in there because just casting a spell doesn't mean too much, but that 6 cost spell might. The Student, the younger version of our win condition, is a 4/4 if you've predicted, which should happen most of the time. Echo, gotcha. Deal 3. It's 2 less if you drew it. I think this is a great card if you need to get out of a jam. Rite of Negation is a counter spell where you have to kill one of your units or sacrifice a mana gem, and it's just a board counter spell. And I think this is going to be really good. I think if you play Shurima, this is you got to put in your deck because it's so good. Because basically it's just like a lot of comboing moves people try to throw out, especially lower end of the ladder. This could just like win you the game because they have nothing. And yeah. And then obviously you can return. But that's the deck. That's Back to the Future. Or Back to the Past. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. This is a great deck. I think there could be some tweaks that could be put into it. If you have any ideas, please let me know. I think it's a great idea. Not a lot of people have been using it. I think in the game there's a lot of ideas that for some weird reason people aren't using, and I don't understand why. They are not the best. I understand that, but they are very good. People just don't want to put time into them, and I think that's super lame. So let me put some time into it for you. Then you can make the last 10 to 30% of the way tweaking it so it's actually playable. If you do that, please let me know what you do, what your thoughts are, what you found out. But this is the deck. Thanks for watching.